Okay, so here's Martha Creek crying already in the first minute of the class tonight. So have some Kleenex available for yourselves, or paper towels, or a big old beach towel, or your sleeve, or whatever you're going to need to care for yourself tonight as we get into this. This is our second session of this grief, healing through grief and awakening ourselves through grief. I am delighted that I can be of any kind of support to you, to ourselves, to me, to my own heart as it reforms itself. It's been in a reformation since the beginning, especially since last year. And I'm so eager to bring any resources that I have found, come across, know of, out to you, for you to use in your own healing, your own awakening through the grief processes, and finding new perspectives, new understandings, getting some lightness around this. And then for you, I know that you'll turn right around and integrate it yourself, and then put it out for somebody else to benefit from. So that's the spirit of this, that together we can do what I cannot do alone. Together we can do what you could not do alone. And we offer then this up, whatever comes through tonight, through the teachings, the poems, the musics, the readings, the practitioners that are here to share their practices with us, that we know and accept that it's all miracle making. Miracle makers and miracle making. So we accept the miracle of it. We accept that with the miracle of the healing at all levels, emotionally, physically, psychologically, spiritually, and absolutely then renew ourselves through whatever we get to experience tonight that's brought forward. MarthaCreek.com is how to contact me. That's where my email and phone and everything is. If you have any questions of me or for me at any time, that's also how to schedule time with me. And you're welcome to do that by going to schedule and contact Martha and picking schedule with me, and pick the other category so that you can have a session at no charge. And you're welcome to that. And so is anybody else that could use a little bolstering up, a little deep listening, or a heart space to express whatever's going on in their heart. Reverend Janine and Reverend Roseanne will share with us tonight some of the ways that they approach healing. They'll also put their contact information in the chat. They've also made themselves available to serve you individually, so you'll know how to contact them. Reverend Jerry Troyer's on here. He'll be sharing with us here in a few weeks. And Reverend Allie Benjamin is here tonight too, Allison Benjamin, and she'll be presenting from their direct experience, which is extraordinary, and the expansions of their own heart through some of the deepest losses and grief that's imaginable really for humans. So whatever your loss has been, whatever your loss is, whatever your grief is, whatever state it's in, whatever condition it's in, whatever condition you're in, you're welcome here tonight. So this is a reading about heartbreak from one of my favorite poets, David White. So I'd love you to just receive this. And if tears come, if you can just keep your throat open a little bit, a few breaths in and through the throat, just to give it a little space here where some of this emotion gets blocked, kind of bottlenecked, literally. Just see if there's a space that you can give it, like opening a door there to this particular area, opening a door there as you listen. Heartbreak. Heartbreak is unpreventable. The natural outcome of caring for people. Heartbreak, unpreventable. The natural outcome of caring for people and things over which we have no control. Of holding in our affections holding in our affections for those who inevitably move beyond our line of sight. Heartbreak begins the moment we're asked to let go and cannot. In other words, it colors and inhabits and magnifies each and every day. Heartbreak is not a visitation, but a path that human beings follow through even the most average life. Heartbreak is an indication of our sincerity. An indicator of love in a relationship, in a life's work, in trying to learn something new, a musical instrument, in the attempt to shape a better and more generous self. Heartbreak is the beautifully helpless side of love and affection. And it is just as much an essence and an emblem of care as a spiritual athlete's quick, abstract ability. Heartbreak has its own way of inhabiting time and its own beautiful and trying patience in coming and going. Heartbreak is how we mature. Yet we use the word heartbreak as if it only occurs when things have gone wrong. An unrequited love, a shattered dream, a child lost before their time. Heartbreak, we hope, is something we hope we can avoid. Something to guard against. A chasm to be carefully looked for and then walked around. The hope is to find a way to place our feet where the elemental forces of life will keep us in the manner to which we want to be accustomed, and which will keep us from the losses that all other human beings have experienced without exception since the beginning of time. But heartbreak may be the very essence of being human, of being on the journey from here to there, and of coming to care deeply for what we find all along the way. If heartbreak is inevitable and inescapable, it might be asking us to look carefully for it and to make friends with it. To see it as our constant and instructive companion. And strangely, perhaps, in the depth of its impact, as well as its hindsight, to begin to see that it actually has its own reward. Heartbreak asks us not to look for an alternative path, because there is no alternative path. It is a deeper introduction It is a deeper introduction to what we love. It is a deeper introduction to what we have loved and who we have loved. An inescapable and often beautiful question. Something or someone who has been with us all along. A new introduction. Asking us always to be ready for yet another letting go. Entitled Heartbreak by David White. And I'll put it in the chat in just a minute so you can see it. So pause and present yourself. Be aware of any feelings that were evoked here as you heard the reading. Be willing to give all the feeling space to any degree you can. And then Reverend Janine Burns will introduce a modality called havening, and all the information about this will be put in the chat as well, and links to how to practice this and to know more about it after tonight's class. Thank you for being here, Janine. Go ahead and share with us, honey, what's been beneficial to you.
Hi, everybody. Great to see a lot of familiar faces, and I'm delighted to be here. I love havening. Havening is a neurosensory technique. It's also called delta wave therapy, and there's two specific applications. One of them is for stress relief or anxiety, and even PTSD trauma, and the other is for peak performance and goal setting and raising your self-esteem. It's a very, very simple technique that produces delta waves, and there's three ways to haven. You can haven by rubbing your palms together like this. You can haven by gently stroking the sides of your face like this. And the last way to haven is as if you're hugging yourself, to stroke down the sides of your arms. And it was interesting, as I was watching the screen, I was seeing some people naturally haven, because I think people intuitively do it. So what I'd like to do is just give you a little test run. I'll explain briefly how it works with trauma or stress. When there's stress, the amygdala, which is the seat of the flight or fight response, has AMPA receptors, AMPA, AMPA receptors, and they get potentiated like little antennas that stand up. And when you use the havening technique, which is rubbing your palms together to create delta waves, and you distract the working memory, what happens is you can depotentiate these little AMPA receptors, these little antenna. They will go away and not come back again. I find the best technique is for those who are spiritually minded is to combine havening with the practice of meditation, affirmative prayer, and it really can help to strengthen and deepen your connection to the presence and power of God within. So let's do this. I just want an introduction here. I'd like you to just close your eyes and get in touch with maybe a negative feeling you'd like to resolve and eliminate. Nothing really big. Like I can think of, I had a lot of mail out today, and there was a substitute postal person, and I needed my mail to go today, and it didn't go today. So it was really frustrating. So that's what I'm going to haven. Think of something. Just get in touch with a negative feeling you'd like to eliminate and resolve. Maybe something frustrating, anger, anxiety, or maybe you're feeling isolated or just, somewhat sad. And now I just want you to put it on the shelf and start to haven. Please begin by rubbing your palms together. And I want you to think about how it feels as you rub your palms together. Notice the pressure, be gentle. Notice the speed. Some people like to go really fast, some like to go very slow. Notice the temperature of your hands. I encourage you to close your eyes so the process is more effective. And you can have in any way that feels comfortable, rubbing your palms or stroking your face. Stroking your face is the quickest way to activate the posinian corpuscles, which trigger a response in the amygdala. It's a cascade of calcium chemicals that creates the delta waves. The delta waves, of course, are the waves that when you have your deepest sleep are occurring. You also can hug yourself on your shoulders. Continue to haven, whether it's rubbing your hands together or your face or stroking your shoulders. And I want you to, everybody's on mute, I want you to hum happy birthday. I'd like to imagine that you're looking at a set of stairs. There's 15 steps, and we're going to look at the stairs and count the steps as we go up them. Count them out loud. 1. Count out loud, please. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Continue to haven however way is comfortable, whether you're stroking your shoulders, always go downwards from your shoulder down, not up, just downward. Perhaps your face and your hands. I want you to imagine you're going on a picnic and you have a picnic basket. And the picnic basket is filled with 10 goodies. So I'd like you to name 10 goodies that you're going to put in your picnic basket. Number 1, what are you putting in your picnic basket? Okay, very good. Number 2, what else are you going to bring along in that picnic basket? All right, number 3. What are you putting in your picnic basket? Good. Number 4, what else did you put in there? Number 5. Okay, number 6, what you bringing along? Number 7. Okay, good. Number 8, what are you bringing? Number 9. And number 10, what are you bringing in that picnic basket? If you haven't stroked your shoulders, I encourage you to stroke downwards on your shoulder. And I'd like you to hum, row, row, row your boat. Hum. Hum, row, row your boat, please. Would you like me to spell the word boat? Spell it out loud. Now spell the word backwards. Spell the word boat backwards. Spell the word book. And spell the word backwards. How about the word easy? Spell the word easy, please. And spell it backwards. Let's imagine you're sweeping your kitchen floor. I want you to take 20 strokes and count them. Sweep 1. You're sweeping 2, 3. You go ahead, count on your own. Wonderful. All right, now we're just going to imagine ourselves on a beautiful beach. You're alone and you're walking right where the water hits the sand. And as you walk along, you're getting calmer and calmer. I invite you to breathe in through your nose. Hold it for just a moment. And now exhale through your mouth. Hold out the exhale for just a couple of seconds. Now breathe in through your nose and hold it. Exhale through your mouth. Hold out the exhale. And one more time. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. Exhale and hold out the exhale. As you're walking along the beach, you're holding a little small container. And you're going to pick up 7 shells. 7 is the number of spiritual completion. Pick up 7 shells. Count them. 1. Notice the colors of them. Are they peachy or bluish or white, sandy color? And number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Pick up another shell. Pick up another shell and another. Okay. Now I just want to invite you before we end. I'd like you to think of a quality you'd like to feel more of. Would you like to feel more optimistic? Maybe you'd like to feel more hopeful. Perhaps you'd like to be more patient. Please continue to Haven. Would you like to be friendlier or more kind? Perhaps you'd like to feel more happy or a sense of belonging. Maybe you want to feel peaceful and strong. How about more forgiving? More faithful, more confident, more determined? Pick something and just focus on it for just a moment. Think of a time in your life when you felt that quality. Let's take the word peaceful. Think of a time you felt peaceful and say it over and over, please. Peaceful. Just say it over. Peaceful. 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 Now let's say the word calm. 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 Say the word centered. 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 And let's know that the amazing energy and power of spirit that expresses in and through us and as us, expresses as all these qualities, as life, light, power, peace, beauty, and joy. Let us know that we're open and receptive to divine ideas that bring forth these qualities in new and remarkable ways. Let's know that we are grateful for these classes with Martha, grateful for these ideas and techniques that we're learning. And let us know that right here and right now, all is in divine order. And so it is. Amen. When you're ready, please stretch. Take a yawn. Stretch. Okay, I want you to compare how you're feeling now about whatever it was that you thought about. I said, was there some kind of feeling? Mine was frustration that the mailman didn't pick up my mail. Think about that. And how do you feel about it when you think about it now? Do I have anybody who wants to give feedback, please? You can raise your hand or unmute yourself.
You're free to put it in the chat if you want to do that too. If you don't want to speak or you're not ready to speak, just put it right over there. We see lighter. It shows on some of your faces too, whether you're aware of it or not. So put it in the chat or just wave like this and we'll call on you to say, what did you actually experience? And there's no wrong answers here.
Yeah, there's Kelly. Unmute yourself, Kelly. I see you have your hand up, Kelly.
Go ahead, Trish. Go ahead, honey.
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting. Diane put in the chat, I don't even remember what it was, and I have to share the same thing because that was my first thought when you said, okay, so how are you feeling about that now? I thought, about what now? So that was, yeah, it faded into the background, I would say.
Yeah, that's not uncommon response, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to, it's important to emphasize that if you're going to work with something about PTSD, you really need to work with someone who's certified, because you don't want to, leave yourself in a space where something's not resolved that you're working on. More accepting, definitely more relaxed. Yeah. Well, that's because we're creating delta waves by activating the proscenium corpuscles. It's an absolutely wonderful technique. Those of you who are into prayer and meditation and affirmations, you're actually building new neural pathways. So if you are rubbing your palms together and, saying, I'm divinely guided in all ways, always, I'm in the right place at the right time, you're creating a new neural pathway for your brain to act from. So it's pretty exciting. Kelly, did you want to say something? Your hand is up. Oh, okay. Maybe when you went in the chat, you accidentally put it up. Anybody else have any comments? Any questions? My website is transformationalhavening.org. The headquarters website is havening.org. You can learn many more things there. You can look on YouTube, find more events. Havening has become very popular because Justin Bieber, who's a vocalist, he's a singer, he's a pretty popular singer, he does it. And so it's really catching on fire in the United States. In the United Kingdom, it's very well known, so it's beginning to catch on fire here. Thank you, Martha, for this opportunity to teach people a very simple skill that you can pull out of your pocket. Nobody knows when you're just sitting there and just rubbing your palms together and get yourself centered and calm.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Precious, for being here. Trish, I'll come to you then to Laura with your comment or question, honey. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if there's a period of time recommended to do that. I mean, what we just did, kind of how long you would stay with that, or is there a specific thought on that?
You can notice, Trish, literally within 30 seconds, you should notice the difference if you're stroking your face. So it's really up to you. When I'm working with someone, generally, if they have an issue that's very stressful, it takes about 20 minutes of this process of distracting their working memory while they're havening for it to kick in. If it's a traumatic event, it usually takes me about 45 minutes to an hour because you have to get to the root cause of the issue. So I pretty much haven every day when I wake up, while I'm still lying in bed for about 30 seconds, and I just pray and just declare that it's going to be a good day.
Thank you, honey. You saw, and Janine pointed out that some of you are doing this naturally. It's instinctual. It's very much even like I used to teach and direct Reiki and train Reiki teachers. And that's how I described Reiki. If you cut your arm, you instinctually put your hand on it. So it's like an energy of blessing of that. So it's like a running its own energy. Havening, we have some intuition about that. And you'll also notice some of you were resistant to do it. It could be the mind saying, this is dumb, I can't do this, people are watching me. So I'm going to encourage you to do it in your privacy, close the camera, do it by watching a YouTube video, but to give this a fair test, because the resistance that we have to something new, to any healing modality is takes us out of this. So we've got to rewire that versus going deeper into the pain, deeper into the stress, deeper into the emotions that have us so bound up anyway. So if you're not in resistance, even a slight resistance, don't worry, you will be. And it may not be tonight, but it'll be coming. And do your best when that resistance comes to say, okay, resistance is here, and I'm going to haven on the resistance. I'm going to imagine how I would be if I was open, more spacious, non-resistant to this. If I was curious, if I was willing. So then use whatever comes up to get you moving somehow, to get you to unstick from some of this binding that we're in. That's generally quite stressful.
And I'm happy to, if anybody wants a session, I'm happy to do that. I'm very committed to teach people how to get new neural pathways. I think it's just an incredible opportunity. If you're into affirmative prayer, I encourage you to either do it while you're praying or just before you begin. And it's just remarkable. Again,
And
thank you.
means the world for you to come and share with us, honey, and for you to be in the world the way you are, honey. So I know that your giving is your receiving and your feeding is your food. And Janine put her website over there in the chat, and also the organizational headquarters where the training comes from. And then you can go to YouTube and watch it all day, every day. All right, Laura, what's your comment, honey, or question or experience?
I just had a couple questions. Is the speed at which you were doing it, is that typical? For some of them, like I had a hard time like sweeping the floor. I had a hard time like keeping my focus on sweeping the floor. I mean, is that something you have to keep focused on? And then the other question is, just doing the movement, does that create change, or do you have to have all this brain stuff going on while the stuff you were talking about, do you have to have that going on in order to create any change?
No, you don't. You can create neural pathways just by going like this and speaking your word, as we call it, you know, and declaring the spiritual truth about yourself or whatever positive affirmations or statement. And then the speed is up to you. My intention was to distract your working memory, so you weren't thinking about, gee, what is Martha going to teach tonight? What is Roseanne going to present? You know, did I get my groceries? Did I, gee, I have to eat. I forgot to eat dinner. It's to get you to distract the working memory. And so that's the intention of that. And in terms of the speed, I see people sometimes do it very slowly. And then I've seen people do it like this. So whatever is appropriate for you. What you're doing is activating the posinium corpuscles, however you want to do it. I encourage you to be gentle, of course.
Okay. So when I was talking about the speed, I was talking about the word, when you were speaking the words, you want to distract us. So is that typically like the speed at which therapists would do it?
That is definitely typically.
And is that like, if you were addressing trauma, would that be what you would do?
Okay, again, if you're addressing trauma, I encourage you to do someone that's certified who can coach you with the process. There are 7 different methods of havening. The one we just did, there's one called event havening. There's affirmational havening, informational havening, hopeful havening, transpirational havening, outcome havening, and I can't think of the last one. Role-playing havening, that's the last one. So there's 7 different methods, and depending on what the issue you want to heal from is dependent on the message, on the speed of the technique. I'm working with a trainer right now because I had birth trauma in the first 3 months of birth. I had birth trauma and I was in the hospital and this and that, and I ended up with an extreme startle response, and we tracked it back to that. And it's just going beautifully. And sometimes we go fast, sometimes we go slow. And it really depends on what I'm feeling in the moment. If it's going too fast, as someone who's certified, you have to do a lot of trainings to get certified. You become to see, you get visual cues when you're working with someone, and you ask them about the pace, etc.
Okay.
The pace of sweeping the floor, or there's so many different ways you can distract people. A lot of times I'll have people who go through the alphabet, and for every letter say a woman's name, or for every letter say, you know, my name is Abigail, my brother's name is Alfred, we're going to Africa and we're selling antiques. And by the time they get through the alphabet, their working memory is so distracted, they oftentimes don't even recall it. They'll remember the issue, but not the emotion. That's what's so amazing about havening, is when you're working with something that's very upsetting, you remember the circumstance, but you won't remember the emotional feeling attached to it.
So has your experience been that this method works long-term, so that, yes, you do
Oh,
it
yeah.
right. Oh, okay.
If you go on my website, I have a link to, her name is Tammy. Let's see. So you go down to the bottom of the website and, oh, there it is. It says the science behind them. It's almost at the bottom of the website on the left-hand side. The website is transformationalhavening.org. And there is a video, what is havening and how does it work, that I attached by this lady, Tam. And she did a wonderful little graphic and explains the whole chemical cascade that happens in the brain as you haven. And that's really fascinating. It's a calcium trigger that happens. I find it incredibly fascinating how the brain works. We're learning more and more about how the brain works.
Thank you, Laura.
It's called a psychosensory technique, but also a neurosensory technique. Neuro meaning brain, sensory. Also, what's important is havening. We've been doing self-havening because, with the pandemic and all, but typically havening is done with a counselor, and they would haven you. They could ask permission and haven you. I did that to someone just a couple of weeks ago. Showed up in my driveway and said, "Are you available?" "No, I'm leaving." "Well, do you have your coat on?" "Yeah, actually I do." "Well, I'm in your driveway." Well, she came in crying. I started havening her, and she just settled down in a matter of minutes. She just came right down, and we were able to talk about what the issue and what was going on.
Thank you, Janine. Laura G, go ahead, honey. Laura Gerard, will you unmute, honey?
Okay, so I have a question. Is this kind of like integrated with DBT and mindfulness and things like that?
Do you mean
Like
see?
the havening? The havening, it's just the way that you're describing it and when to use it to distract yourself, to be more mindful and forget what's going on, like to distract your repetitive thoughts.
No, what you're doing,
DBT would teach you that you would do some kind of action like that, something to distract your mind. So I was wondering, is this something that they integrate with DBT now? Since having,
are you saying
havening
CBT,
is
like cognitive behavioral therapy?
like DBT, like dialectic behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just like behavioral therapies. This would actually be really good to combine the two together.
Janine, will you hold
It
on?
was just, it was just a thought that I came up with as
Thank
you
you,
guys were
Laura.
talking.
I want not to get into any more nuance of this tonight. I've got another
okay.
here, very valid
And
question.
you can call me.
So call Janine, get on the website or do a session with her and then get your questions answered there if you would. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again.
But again, there's many different types of havening that are done. So if you're feeling stuck or living in, you want to do informational. What if I am the best candidate for the job? What if I can make a difference? So there's different types.
Okay. Big, deep breath.
Big stretch.
Yeah. Big stretch. And then last week I posed a question for you to consider, like, how have you done it so far? How have you done it so far? How have you buried those pets that were closer to you than some of your children? Have you buried those spouses that you were pretty sure they would outlive you? And the anger that they died. How have you done burying your children? Have you done it? Have you done being abandoned, rejected, not belonging, the doubt, the confusion, the worries of it all? Have you done being terminated from employment that you believed you were dependent on? And having profession ripped out from under you. Have you done it wondering what kind of God would allow this? And where's God in all this? Have you done it watching them drink and drug and take risk? Now have you done your powerlessness over it all? So ever how you did it, you did it. So I invite you to be aware of a resilience that you may not often claim. And you may not want resilience. It may be screw resilience. Thank you. I'd rather have a good cheeseburger. However, resilience you are. Resilience you are. Resilience you have. Some uncommon motivation to get up and get dressed one more time, to return one more call, to return one email, to say one more prayer, one more surrender, one more trip in the arena of doubt, confusion, bewilderment, sadness, despair. So how have you done it? Anybody who can, put it in the chat. And if that doesn't resonate, like how I did it, like I don't know, might be your answer. How did I do it? I don't know. So if that doesn't resonate, put what did I do? Here's what I did. Here's what I do. Here's what I'm currently doing. And here's what I do every time it comes back home. So a couple of examples from the death of Olivia last year that I've spoke about last week included every time Hadlin and I are out together and we see a family together, mothers with children or grandmothers with their grandbabies or fathers, any family that's together, we do something for that family. So we may pay for their meal. We were checking in at a Chuck E. Cheese. We paid for their time there. I got a gift card and kind of slipped it over to the adult more subtly once and just said, this is a part of our spiritual practice is to give. It also includes specifically giving to people that are doing things as a family. Because we lost a family member last year. So now we're encouraging families to do things together and to enjoy their time as a family. So things like that made a big difference. And then Hadlin, who was 5 at the time, would go, I think, is that a family over there? I think that may be a family over there. So we were out to spot them. So it could be, I called, and not this past year, but in the past, and I told one of you there, I called Silent Unity for 30 straight days. So I could say a prayer and hear one. And when I couldn't pray myself, at times when I've not been able to pray myself, I received a prayer. So anything you can share about what you've done, how you do it, and at a minimum, to pause here tonight and consider you're far more resilient than you feel. Even when you don't feel resilient, you are. You have resilience, whether we're aware of it or not. And then Roseanne, welcome, honey. And Roseanne is a certified grief specialist, grief recovery specialist. So she's received formal training in this. And prior to going for this specialty training, she did her damnedest to keep her son alive and couldn't. So when she speaks tonight, you'll know it's not just from theory, that she's been around the mulberry bush. So thank you, sweetheart, for bringing us your heart and your understandings and your practices and techniques and anything that could benefit us here as we awaken through this grief and move the needle toward living our own lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Always. Thank you. It's I feel heart-centered with all of you right now, and I'm grateful to all be in the same space together. Martha has held so much space one-on-one with me as I break down and cry and move through it all. And all of it, the havening, thank you, all of it. I try it all, I use it all. And I did try for, I watched my oldest son for 15 years try to get off heroin, and just, you know, and he had some sobriety. It was a back and forth, and it was brutal to watch. And I'm just grateful, you know, that Martha was there guiding and doing what we do, just be together as we just love our loved ones, you know. And then Nicholas decided it was enough and killed himself in September of 2020. And I did not know that I was going to be able to overcome that. And even another person on this call tonight has had the loss and given me so much time and love, and had those same, you know, being with people who have those same kinds of losses. And I've been surrounded by so much solution and love and support, and I still had moments where I wanted to die, that I just did not imagine being able to continue on, because I knew too much about recovery from drug addiction and in my own recovery from, you know, stopping drinking in 1990 as a 25-year-old. I knew too much you know, and I still had no control. I can laugh, but I'm redefining sanity. It's laughing and crying at the same time in the same moment, about the same things. But I did go to finally get to Grief Recovery Institute, and had someone walk with me through a 7-step process that what it allowed me to do was to deliver any undelivered emotional content. I still had things to say to Nicholas. And it helped me in just walking through the experience of getting current with, okay, I'm now peaceful, the fact that I've said everything I've wanted to say, and it led me to a completion letter that I read to a herd of horses, you know, here in Scottsdale. And so I use it all. I mean, anything around me, I use it. Every open door, I walk through it, out of desperation, you know, and was able to articulate for the first time what Nick's passing meant to me, and what Nick's, you know, because I of course held out hope that I know recovered heroin addicts. I know it's possible. I live with a lot of hope, and I really was, you know. Anyway, so after completing that process with her, and then working on a few other losses, I had a loss, you know, even the leaving the 25-year marriage peacefully, the empty nester, the relocation, the loss of a romantic relationship, all of these things were stacking up. And then once Nicholas decided to kill himself, that was the loss that lined up all the rest of the losses at my door. And so it wasn't just that one loss, it was the accumulation that became this huge mountain that I all of a sudden couldn't live with anymore. And so after I saw that it helped me get current with some of these unresolved grief, you know, the daily grief is here. I mean, I'm present with, you know, the loss today, but the unresolved grief, that accumulation is what helped. And so I became certified to work with others, walk right alongside them as they work on that unresolved grief, that mountain of grief that just gets accumulated until you can get present with it. And like you said today, I'm practicing, you know, I mean, Martha knows I'm, you know, had a really good cry today, as Martha held some space for me, and just remind me I'm not, you know, the grief is a natural, normal reaction to loss, that I'm not, you know, that these, let go of these stories that something's wrong with me because I have to have a breakdown every once in a while, you know, and I think we talked about it before, you know, I'm a little more loving with myself about when I do have to break down, I break down, you know, just let it go. But yeah, it's an honor to get to work with people. And after Martha, after we finish here with Martha, that next week, the same time frame, I'll be here on another Zoom link, and I'll put the Zoom link in the chat to continue the conversation about what grief recovery is and how I can just be of service to anyone, because that's what's going to save me. That's what's saving me right now, is if I can use my experience to be of service to someone, I'm in, because and so many people have done it for me, you know, just holding space. I don't have a unique story. I know that, you know, that there are a lot of people who have children who have decided it's enough, you know, and learning how to walk past a picture of Nicholas. I can hear him, I can talk to him. It's not that, it's about the law, you know, but you know, just being able to take that Grief Recovery Institute has been working with this on unresolved grief, and I like it. And it's like Janine, it's one thing that we can do together. And I'm honored to be here, always just staying heart-centered. So honored to be in this group. And, you know, I'm just so grateful. I'll put the ways to get in touch with me, but I'm honored to share our story of the 15 years of loving someone who's trying to get off heroin on and off. You know, I'm willing to share all of that, to be transparent, so that, like I said, if one thing can be useful to someone else, I'm all in, you know. So I appreciate the time and the space, and just to be here with you, be one of you as we navigate through our grief together, you know.
Thank you, Roseanne. Thank you, Precious. I've put her email again in there. Her email is Grief Recovery Method. And as she stated here, these sessions end on the last Tuesday in March, and she has now volunteered to keep Tuesday night sessions going at the same time. So she's taking her turn at serving and supporting people through grief recovery. So it'll be open to the public, donation basis, no registration required, very similar to how these were set up. So you're welcome to join in or to invite others that certainly that could benefit from this. She'll also share various techniques of that, which include looking at grief timelines and letter writing and other things that some of you have done. I've witnessed you doing it in the deep inner work that we do together that can be very beneficial in this too. Anything on your heart or mind that you could be benefited by speaking? Allie, are you waving, honey, or you want to say something? So Allison Benjamin's here, and she'll be presenting here in the next few weeks, and Reverend Jerry Troyer, and then another grief specialist that's been at this, it seems like 30 some years, named Reverend Kathleen Flynn, will be here on the other night. So we've got support from all directions coming in here, and I'm here, and I don't know how to make any more clear that I'm here and how to contact me for you to have witnessed through this or to walk through this. in any way that's going to lighten this for you. And then I brought this little poem. So 2 poems tonight, and I started to do music, and it's like, no, it's the poem. And it's entitled Talking to Grief. I'm going to put both of these up there for you. Ah, grief. Ah, grief, I should not treat you like a homeless dog. Ah, grief, I should not treat you like a homeless dog who comes to the back door for crust, for a meatless bone. I should not treat you like a homeless dog. I should trust you. I should coax you into the house. I should coax you into the house and give you your own corner. A worn mat to lie on and your own water dish. You think I don't know you've been living under my porch? You long for your real place. You long for your real place to be realized before winter comes. You need your own name. You need your own collar and a tag. You need the right to warn off intruders. You need the right to warn off intruders to consider that my house is your own house. And to remember that me, I am your person. And to remember, I am yourself. And I am my own dog. All right, we give thanks for this night, for this day, for this human-heartedness. We're willing to see heartbreak as inescapable and to change our relationship with heartbreak. As one of you told me in a call yesterday that you were shocked to hear that I experienced heartbreak because you were sure that I had transcended it. And what I can tell you, the best I could say it is, I've transcended what would stop me from heartbreak. So, heartbreak is included. And even though I've not ever been resonant with the term, I'm resonant with the energy. And as I said, the most I would describe more accurately what I experienced was not a heartbreak, although I'm very aware that it's as accurate as some of you can be in describing what's going on in you, that it was like my heart dissolved. My heart dissolved. And with things like you've done, and prayer and bawling and crying and cussing and worksheets and witnessing and expression and watching movies 30 days in a row, whether I wanted to or not, because that was a spiritual mandate, and crying till it couldn't cry anymore. And then counting the blessings too. Grateful for the life and whatever time I had with them. I've had a reformation of heart. So I believe a better heart, a bigger heart, a softer heart, a kinder heart. We begin tonight, and we begin again tonight. You cannot do it wrong. You don't have to do it alone, and it's going to take longer than you like, apparently. So we'll close. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your donations and contributions that make this possible. It'll be shared with the presenters, and we've got musicians coming on in a few weeks to do live music and other things. And any way in the world I can support you. PJ, go, honey. Will you unmute?
Yes, I just wanted to, could you put that other poem that you started off with? Did you put that in the chat?
I will.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, for all that you're doing. Beautiful.
Welcome, honey. Anything else? So we'll close formally just to stay on the time that was committed and accountable. And I'll be here for a few more minutes to see if there's anything I can do to just hug your heart. You're welcome for my part. You're so, so welcome for my part. I'm going to have to break this first reading up because it's too big to go in the chat, honey. So it'll be in pieces, probably 2 pieces. There's one.
Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome, honey. All of you, you're welcome. Anything before we hang up that I could be of any benefit for you?
Just want to say thank you. Such a beautiful holding of space together.
There it is, PJ, in 3 pieces, honey. It'll also be in the recording when those of you that get the copy of it, I'll include the chat in there too.
Thank you.
Thank you to Roseanne. Thank you to Janine. It was beautiful, honey. We've opened a door.
My pleasure.
Possibility here.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Roseanne.
Yeah, thank you, Janine.
I'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Martha, I want to thank you for encouraging